like Mr. Robot? Me too. Please welcome to the stage, Christian Slater.
Okay, thank you. Great. Hello. Thank you so much for having me. Good to see you. Oh, the other mic? Okay, here you go.
I mean, you can keep both of them, but it might be kind of a...
I walked out here with a coffee. You asked me if I was coordinated enough to do that. Now you're asking me to hand
Now
you
I'm like, juggle the mics,
I know.
drink the coffee, and sit down.
Not skill that I possess.
So, welcome to Rhode Island.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Rhode Island. Good to be here. Beautiful.
Yeah, I think I speak for everyone here that we're super stoked you're here.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, thrilled to be here as well. Thank you.
We're going to talk a lot about Mr. Robot, but I got to ask you first. Is this, you're new to the convention scene a little bit.
Right, yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
What do you think?
I love it. No, it's great. I love seeing everybody dressed up and I honoring all these shows. I mean, look, I'm a big, I don't know if I'm a comic geek, but I'm certainly a Star Wars, Star Trek fan, and yeah.
That's allowed here.
Yeah, it's good. I mean
should I ask you which you prefer?
Between those two? Gosh, it's hard. It is hard. I mean,
we can save that question for the end of the panel.
Yeah,
if you want.
A couple Halloweens ago, I know my wife dressed up as Ahura and I dressed up as Kirk, and it was a great night.
You reenacted that first kiss.
It was fantastic. I was so happy that she was game, and we just went for it, and all those fantasies I had as a kid.
Oh my God, I love it. I could see you as a captain.
You can see that?
I could see you.
Look at me. I mean, I'm in the chair right now.
Hey, he certainly is. All right,
Scotty, we need warp drive. We're all dead.
So next time I see a Captain Kirk walking around Comic-Con, I'm gonna be like, Christian?
Yeah, you confuse us. Of course, absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Robot, incredible show. You do such an amazing job with the character.
Thank you.
Let's take it back. When you first got the pilot script and read it, what were your initial thoughts, and how did you decide to sort of approach the role? And in that, how much about the role did you actually know at that initial point?
Well, yeah, I'd gotten the pilot, and this was about 3, maybe 4 days before they were actually going to start shooting. So it was very early on in the process, and I read it, and I had many questions about the character. I had some suspicions about, what the deal was with this guy. And I had a meeting with Sam Esmail and Chad Hamilton and Nils, the director, and I asked Sam what the deal was, and he said, "Do you really want to know?" And I said, "Yes." And he told me, and then told me what the relationship was that my character has with Elliot, and I just got very excited. I like the fact that he was so prepared. I'd met other show creators before, and they really it's just nice when somebody has thought the whole thing through the way Sam has, and that made me feel very excited and very safe, and yeah, I thought it was certainly a unique way to go with this character. So there you go.
Absolutely. I mean, that actually brings up a good point. I feel like shows used to write for like an arc of like 5 seasons or, a couple seasons. And now a lot of times, you hear that a show told their whole story in season 1 and then they get renewed and kind of change. How many seasons are planned out for Mr. Robot?
Well, Sam has always said it's between 4 and 5 seasons. That's from what my understanding is. That's always been his plan, and that's what he's envisioned, and that's the entirety of the story that he would like to tell. I mean, I know one of the things he doesn't want to do is stay longer than, because sometimes shows will stay on for years and years and years, and people get pretty sick of it. So I think he wants to just sort of, hone in, get exactly what his story is that he wants to tell, and then, get in and get out.
I love that.
Yeah.
What do you think draws people to the show?
Well, I think it's, when I read the pilot, certainly it was a subject matter that I didn't know a great deal about, and it's a subject matter that, again, Sam Esmail has tackled in a very authentic way. So I think a lot of hackers and organizations, people like that, Edward Snowden has certainly said that it's one of his favorite shows because it is extraordinarily authentic, and it's an incredibly timely subject matter. I mean, all the things that are going on in the world, and all these hacks that are happening, and this controversy with Russia, and there's just everything that we're sort of doing and tackling with this show and with the economy, and that entire world is sort of mirroring and reflecting what's going on in our actual world. So, and then on top of that, there's a very interesting, I think there's very interesting characters. You know, one of the things Sam again said is that as technical as the show is, and as much as it is about that world, it's also about human beings and interacting. And you know, Elliot's character, he's a guy who's isolated and lonely and feeling disconnected, and it's a lot of that has to do with technology. So I think that's something that people relate to now.
Absolutely, and what I love about it, and it's pretty much what you said, is it has this global feel to it with the hacking, but it's a very personal show, you know, and it's very character driven.
Yeah, well, with Rami Malek, I mean, his performance, I think, is amazing.
He's amazing.
Yeah, come on, give it up for Rami, right? Yeah, I mean, the guy's...
But you're amazing too.
Oh, no, I feel great about it. But no, Rami's great. I mean, to get to play, you know, a character of his, you know, a figment of his imagination is a lot of fun. I mean, the fact he's really the main guy that I work with in the show. So fortunately, he and I get along extraordinarily well.
How much does his choices with Elliot affect your sort of portrayal on an episode to episode or week to week basis?
Well, I mean, I've always said I'm as real as Elliot imagines me to be. So I never really look at it as though I'm this mysterious, ghost-like, you know, spooky kind of character. I always approach it as though we're just, you know, two guys in a scene together, and he has always been so convincing and made it so believable, and has really helped to create the chemistry and dynamic between these two characters beautifully. And I was certainly curious after episode 9, season 1, you know, where Sam was going to go with the Mr. Robot character. I mean, there was a moment where I asked him, I said, you know, how am I going to come back after this? I mean, we've just seen us at the graveyard and discovered, you know, who and what I am. You know, Sam, again, surprised me and shocked me, and then, you know, gave me that great speech at Times Square to give, and I think has handled it all very well in season 2.
Absolutely. Has being a part of a show like this changed your view on technology?
Well, it certainly raised my levels of awareness of this particular world. It's certainly made me more cautious about things that you put out there on the internet, because once it is out there, it's out there forever. So you really want to be careful about those kinds of choices that you're making. And you also want to update your passwords, of course, as much as possible and as regularly as possible. And you want to put a piece of tape over your camera. That's no joke. I mean, I could do it. I'm telling you.
This is like your own
I've learned
little...
some real skills here. I mean, I could see into each and every one of your homes if I wanted to. Yeah.
For reals?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So it's definitely a very serious and very scary world. So it's nice to have the technical advisors that we do have on this show to kind of guide us through it all.
That's really, that's interesting and scary. And that was your own little PSA for
it is, definitely.
technology safety by Christian.
It got me about my kids too. I mean, one of the, you know, you just think about, I mean, it's hard even for me now at my age to practice good judgment all the time on the internet. You know, I mean, we've been given the keys to the kingdom, you know. I mean, we're exposed to so much on the internet, and you know, some of that's great, some of that's scary and bad and a little dangerous. So as a result of being involved with this show, one of the guys that we work with, Cora Donna, who's the real technical expert, he introduced me to some of these software things that you can download. And, you know, keep an eye on what your kids are doing, which is important. With their consent, of course, with them having the knowledge. You know, it's not like I'm Big Brother or anything. I mean, I just want them to know that at least until they're 18, you know, either myself or my wife, you know, will be monitoring.
Access to,
what the heck's going on. So just watch your step.
That's good. Well, if you guys would like to, if you guys would like to ask Christian some questions, you can line up in the aisles. We'll open it up. And while they get themselves organized, Christian, I'm curious. You have such an iconic career, and you've played so many amazing roles. What role are you most recognized for?
Probably Clarence in True Romance, I think, is... I think so, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, we'll start over here. How are you, sir?
Good, thank you.
All right.
Hi. I've seen, probably, if I haven't seen everything you've ever done, it's been pretty close.
Okay.
You're one of those people that, if you're in it, I'll buy a ticket without knowing much else about it.
Thanks, man.
I enjoy your work.
Sorry about Alone in the Dark. No, I'm just kidding.
Who's an actor, writer, director, somebody that you have that for, where if they're involved in the project, you want to see it?
Oh, that's a good question. I really like Matthew Vaughn as a director, right? Matthew Vaughn is great. I love him from all of his movies, Layer Cake, and I thought that was a cool movie, and what he's done with Kingsman, I think, is really great. But yeah, I mean, there's all these guys, Martin Scorsese and Spielberg, of course, and so yeah, those are the guys that I would buy tickets for. It's what comes to mind right now.
All right, thank you.
Good question.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, great question. Hi, we'll go over here now.
Okay.
Hi, I was wondering if you can compare what it was like working on a character like Steven from King Cobra,
Yeah.
who is a real person versus someone that you kind of build from scratch.
Wow. Yeah, great question. Well, that was certainly an interesting experience for me. I don't know how many people have actually seen King Cobra, but it's all about the, adult male porn industry. and James Franco presented me with that project, and it certainly gave me the opportunity to do something that I was scared to do. And I guess those are the sorts of things that I'm kind of looking to do now in the future. So that was, challenging and exciting and fun. And yeah, look, when there's more information, of course, to work with, and Dateline episodes and books you can research and discover things about the character, of course, that's all extraordinarily helpful. I don't have a particular preference. I love creating characters from scratch, as I think we kind of did with Mr. Robot, but playing a guy from real life, having that sort of information to work from is extraordinarily helpful as well.
Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
On that note, there must be like a sense of responsibility when you're creating a character based on an actual person.
Oh yeah, no, you want to do it as authentically as possible, even if he was a guy working in the gay porn industry. I mean, he still is a human being, and lived a life. And there's no kids in here, right? Maybe there's a couple. All right, so in the Mickey Mouse industry, yeah.
Thank you. Hi, how are you?
Hey,
Hi, how are you?
very good.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get through this. I had to write down.
Wow.
Okay. So you were in an episode of Entourage.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Somebody likes Entourage.
It was a great scene. Yeah.
it was very brief. Was there a backstory or a personal story that went along with your interaction with drama?
It is a good question. The only reason that came together is because I was shooting another show on the same lot with those guys, and the producer saw me and was like, "Hey, do you want to just do a walk-on here?" And I said, "Yes, of course." But at the time, I was shooting this show called Breaking In, and it was on the Sony lot. Thanks, yeah. And I was very excited because I was a huge Entourage fan, and I loved all those guys, and I still think they're great. So yeah, I thought just to have a moment there. And who knows, if they ever do a sequel to Entourage and we get into the depth and journey of what the hell that story was, what did I do? I gave drama the finger or something?
He was pretty sad when you...
Yeah. I mean, I don't know really what they had in mind there, but for some reason he and I were just, combatants.
Yeah, he was very confused
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, he seemed, like, what the heck, what's his problem? I don't know, yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Mr. Slater. How are
Yes,
you?
sir. Call me Christian, please.
Christian. Hey, I want to take you back a little way, go back a few years to a little movie that you did called Pump Up the Volume.
All right.
Have to go back to that. A two-part question. Does the message of Pump Up the Volume, is it still relevant today? And does the world in our PC climate need a little Harry Hart on here? A little Happy Harry. Yes.
Yeah,
There's still a place for that.
Yeah, no, I'm really proud of that movie, of course. I love that character. That was certainly a extraordinarily special time. I do feel like it was ahead of its time in a lot of respects. I know Sam Esmail is a huge fan of that movie, and I've heard people refer to Mr. Robot as sort of a pump with the volume for this generation. You know, I mean, back then, of course, the technology that I had to work with was a ham radio, and you know, I was just trying to deal with a corrupt school, and Mr. Robot's, that whole world is obviously to the next level, and dealing with much greater and larger issues. But yeah, I mean, look, the relevance of that and the passion and the anarchist quality, I think is vital and important. But also, I think, you know, it had a lot of heart, you know, and soul, and I mean, that was a character that wasn't racist, you know, he wasn't judgmental. I mean, he was maybe judgmental of like the bullies, you know, and those guys that were picking on the other guys that were kind of maybe a little different. So yeah, I think we need more voices like that out there that you know will stand up for those guys that are a little different.
Thank you very much.
Sure, man.
Thank you. And great movie.
Yeah,
Great movie.
thanks.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, Christian. How
Hey,
you doing?
dude. Good.
First, you must be a bigger Star Trek fan because you had a cameo in Star Trek 6.
Right?
Yep, boom.
Yep.
And then, second, how much fun was it working on The Wizard?
Oh, yeah.
And it's one of the first movies that I can remember,
Nostalgia.
kind of like almost like raising autism awareness. So I thought there was many dynamics to it. And
Okay.
maybe if you could speak to it a little bit.
Yeah, well, the Star Trek 6 thing, The Undiscovered Country, I was working on this movie called Cuffs, like this was 1990.
Awesome movie.
Thanks so much.
Breaking the fourth wall like Deadpool.
Yeah, and Ferris Bueller and doing the whole thing.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I love that. That was really fun. And I had my little sort of Beverly Hills Cop Eddie Murphy theme, you know,
Yep,
that
yep.
we tried to rip off there. It was incredible.
Great movie.
But yeah, so I think I had like a couple days off there, and an actor had dropped out, and my mother was the casting director of Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country.
Wow.
So she called me up and was like, hey, do you want to come put on this Captain Kirk uniform from Star Trek 2 and fill in for this particular role? So that's how that worked out. And I think that was probably the most nervous I've ever been in my entire life. Like,
Wow.
in that, I was like such a starstruck geek. I mean, I was out of my mind. I couldn't like speak to Sulu. I was just, I mean, you can see it on my face, I think, you know, when I see it. I just am like horrified to be in there. But I still love it, and it's a cherished memory. And I can't remember what the second part of the question was. What?
Oh, about The Wizard. And,
Oh, yeah.
You know, movie about video games and
Yeah.
possibly autism awareness.
Yeah. No, I mean, The Wizard I thought was a really charming movie. I mean, it was Fred Savage, and, you know, that was a big deal. We had the Power Glove.
It's so bad.
Yes, pretty badass stuff that we were working with. And, I mean, the kid, I guess that movie Rain Man had just been made, Dustin Hoffman, so this was sort of the kid version of that in a certain respect. Yeah, you know, I mean, I had a great time with Beau Bridges, and I loved working on the Universal lot back then. They gave us permission to sort of run around and get on all those rides, which is something that I had always fantasized about from when I was a kid going there. So that's a great thing about this business sometimes, is they give you like the key to get behind the scenes and sort of, you know, just go nuts and have a great time. So I enjoy that.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
America.
I don't want to say, do you have a favorite character? Because I know, you know, as an artist, you're probably connected to all of them and to some extent. But do you have a project that is like, over the years, stands out as being really special for one reason or another?
Well, no, I mean, I think the Harry Happy Harry character definitely is the one that I have always loved and always responded to. But then there's, you know, I mean, JD from Heathers is certainly so hilarious.
Favorite movie ever.
Thanks
like,
so much.
Top, like,
Yeah.
favorite movie ever. I must have watched that movie, sorry, but I must have watched that movie like 30 times when it came out.
Yeah.
And I had the VHS tape, putting it in.
Yeah, I know. God, those days. But yeah, no, that one he's definitely a real badass character. That was
He's
really,
amazing.
yeah, that was different and unique, and certainly another thing that was ahead of its time. And of course, Winona Ryder is the best.
way ahead of its time. You were way, way amazing.
Thank you. All right.
Yes.
Hi, I absolutely
Is that an
love
F
your.
Society outfit? Or? Okay,
Yes,
good. Yeah,
thank you. I absolutely love your work on the show.
Thank you.
Finally, this season, we finally got to see Rami and you have like a heart-to-heart moment.
Yeah.
Do you think there'll be more of that in season 3?
I think so. I mean, I know that we didn't end necessarily on the best note. So I am curious to see where Sam is going to go with that and how the rest of that relationship is going to unfold. I mean, he's described it to me a little bit as though it's definitely going to be combative, and I think I'm going to be wanting to take over a little bit more because I just keep getting more and more frustrated with what, the choices that Elliot's making. They're driving me crazy, so yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, hi.
Hi, hello.
Hi, dude.
Congrats on the Golden Globe for
Oh,
starters.
thanks, man. Thank you very much. That was a good night. That worked out.
All right, so I'm a set designer here in New England, and I just worked with Matt Munn, who is your designer in the pilot for Mr. Robot.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so my question is, how chaotic is it filming on location in New York, and what's your favorite built set you guys got?
I mean, filming in New York is great. I loved it. I mean, there was no guarantee when we started the show, certainly from the pilot, that it was going to stay in New York. I mean, USA didn't commit to that, but Sam made New York such a character in the show and used the backdrop of New York so beautifully and so well that I think they had no choice but to keep it there. And man, I'm just so thrilled for that. I mean, nothing can really double the subways of Manhattan. I mean, if you go to Toronto's great, and I love it, and I've worked there, and it's beautiful, but there's just such a rawness and authenticity to the subways and just New York in general. It's just such a great, amazing city, and I live there. I'm a native New Yorker, born and raised there. So to get to work there and live there at the same time and work on a show like Mr. Robot, it's just the best. And I think, going to Coney Island, those sets and what they did in the arcade, I thought was great. And he's a certainly talented set designer. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, great. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
man.
And good luck to you.
Yeah, good luck, dude. Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
All right.
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
So my questions were already answered, so
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to think of another one.
Okay.
Heathers, let's
Yeah.
go back to Heathers.
Why not? Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely the best.
Cool.
The best.
Thank
So
you.
how did you feel like making that movie? Like what did you have to get into to?
And I'm going to add something.
Yeah, sure.
What did you think when you read that script? Because it was so ahead of its
Right?
time. It was
Yeah.
so like crazy. Were you thinking, what were you thinking?
What
And you
was I
played the
thinking?
best psycho, I gotta say.
Thanks. Yeah, it was fun. What was I thinking? Yeah, it was definitely one where I read the script and I thought, okay, it's pretty cool. I don't know if anybody will ever be into this or watch it, or who knows. I mean, you never know like how people are going to respond to anything. And but I knew I liked Winona a lot. I know my mother read the script and she demanded that I not do it. She was like, no, there's no way, you can't do this. But, I rebelled and, went against her wishes, and I did it. Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
And it was a great experience. Making it, working with Winona was great. Doing all those scenes, I mean, just the scene in the cafeteria when the two jock bullies come over to me and it was like, hey, And that scene is just so, you can't do that scene today, of course, it's done. But back then, it was, again, ahead of its time. And I had just a pretty badass opening line there, Seem to have an open door policy for assholes, though, don't they? That was badass.
Yes.
Nice, thank you.
Thank you. Hi, we'll go over here.
Okay.
Hi. I've never seen any of your movies before, ever.
So why are you standing at the mic?
Because
Awesome.
which movie of yours would you
How
recommend me
unique.
seeing?
You're like my wife. That's amazing.
Which movie of yours would you recommend me seeing first?
Heathers.
Yeah, is that what you would say? Yeah, I don't know. Ask these guys.
Start early.
Yeah.
Hard Rain's pretty good.
What's right? Yeah. The Young Guns too. Yeah, Arkansas Dave. Robin Hood. Yeah, come on. Fuck me, he cleared it. Yeah, I mean, it's in all my lines. I wrote these things. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
Hello.
Welcome to our world. Yeah. All right.
Hi. I'd like to say, really loved your work. My mom knows you from Heather's. I know you from Mr. Robot.
Cool.
I was wondering, what was your favorite episode to film?
Of Mr. Robot.
Yes.
Well, look, certainly there were some great ones in season 1 that I really loved. Like, doing the speech in Times Square was great, and I thought the writing was great for that particular scene, and yeah, it was exciting and challenging, and it was fun to prepare for that one. And I would go to Times Square at different odd times because it's such a distracting place, and I had so much to say that I just wanted to like be there and absorb myself. And so when it came to the time of shooting that particular scene, I wouldn't be thrown off. But then in this last season, there were also a lot of fun moments. But I think the clear-cut, obvious winner is Alf. You know, I mean, the episode 5, yeah, the sitcom episode I thought was really fun, and you know, working with such an icon as Alf. This is not something that I ever thought I would ever say in my life.
New things happen all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about this business. You know, you just never know. And that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. But I think that episode had a lot, you know, it had that crazy, twisted sitcom opening. And then I also loved at the end the scene between me and young Elliot. I thought that was really special.
Thank you. That was actually my favorite episode too. So.
Oh, great.
I was going to ask if you had a favorite episode.
All right.
Yes,
So.
that was mine. So.
All right,
Awesome.
nailed it. Thanks.
So you guys are like, you know,
we're simpatico.
you're on the same like page
Yeah,
here.
that's so
Yes,
cool.
hi.
Thanks, Dave.
How are you?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to the role reversal dynamic between JD and his father in Heather's. I thought that was really interesting, and I was wondering how you thought that affected the character.
That's right. I mean, that was a fascinating relationship. Like, the dad was sort of like the kid.
It was
that
kind of like, yeah.
That was twisted.
It was parenting the parent.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. You know, I mean, that's, some parents are really messed up. You know, I mean, yeah, that's definitely fascinating. I mean, that whole dynamic and that whole relationship between those two was certainly twisted. I think it certainly lent to JD's, you know, frustrations and wanting, you know, obviously he was not being given any boundaries, you know. I mean, he was being raised by basically free reign. Yeah, I mean, he was being raised by wolves, so he was going to act out, and that was going to express itself in the way that it ended up expressing itself, which was, you know, utter chaos, you know. But chaos is what killed the dinosaurs. Whenever I'm at a loss, I just quote something I said in a movie, and
I love it.
I can get my way right out of it. It's perfect. But I did love that relationship. I really did.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, my name's Nathan, and I'm going to go to Mr. Robot.
Okay.
On the night after the episode where the speech happened and, you know, the great hack and all that, I remember going to school the next day and seeing a kid walk by with the F Society mask, seeing a sticker on the wall and everything, and that was my moment where I went, wow, this is becoming something big.
Yeah.
I was wondering when that happened for you, and what was your reaction?
It's a good question. When did you realize like the fan base was more than maybe you first thought?
Well, I guess, you know, maybe it was like not this Halloween, but last Halloween, I think, was, well, that was the first time that I ever saw anybody like dress up as Mr. Robot and Elliot, you know. So that was, I was like, what? Really? They were dressing up as, I thought that was great. You know, I was really excited and jazzed about that. I mean, yeah, there've been like a few moments in my life where I got pretty excited. The first moment was when I got my Robin Hood action figure. You know, when they when they made a little Will Scarlet doll, I was like, holy moly, that's it, I'm done. And then, the next exciting moment was when I saw people dressing up as Mr. Robot. I thought that was great. Okay.
That's awesome.
Thank you. You're one of my idols.
Thank you, dude.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thanks, man.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, my name's Veronica. I just
Oh,
wanted to
Veronica,
ask,
yeah.
Hi.
All right.
I just wanted to ask, what was your favorite scene to shoot in True Romance?
Wow. Favorite scene to shoot in True Romance. Wow, there's a lot of scenes. I think probably the one with Gary Oldman, and just that fight scene, where I come in and get the luggage, the drugs, and that whole battle scene, and working with Gary Oldman and swinging the lamp back and forth between us was pretty exciting, pretty fun to shoot. I remember that. Yeah, that was fun.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
all
you.
right. Thank you. Good question.
Hi.
Greetings and salutations.
Hey.
I just wanted to know, your character and Elliot's character in Mr. Robot are so on opposite ends most of the time. They're always battling. Do you think there's ever going to be a point where they're going to actually be on the same side to do the same thing and not have that dynamic?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, it's going to come down to what Sam Esmail decides to do with the character. I don't know. I remember reading the second episode for season 1, and pushing Elliot off of the pier at Coney Island, and I was just like, dude, why do you want me to do that? I don't want to do that, and I felt really bad about it, so I would ideally like to work out the relationship between the two of us. I don't think getting rid of Mr. Robot necessarily means that Elliot is well. No, I think they have an interesting chemistry and a fascinating dynamic, and so hopefully at some point they will work out their differences and find some mutual harmony.
I think. Oh, sorry. Oh no, I was going to say I feel like they will.
You do? You feel like
come
that?
together? I don't know.
I hope so.
I hope so too. Well, we'll see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Hi.
All right.
Hi, Christian.
Hey, dude.
I graduated from college with a bachelor's degree in acting.
Okay.
And pretty much my question for you is more, when you're preparing for an audition, when you're in that room, when the feeling of being a dime a dozen, I guess, is on you, how do you thwart that? How do you start getting ready for the character and just get all of that behind you and dive in despite the opposition or the imposition?
Well, I lie to myself a lot. That's what I do. We all have anxiety. We all have fears. There's that saying, of course, feel the fear and do it anyway. But also I try and channel the nerves and trick myself into thinking that it's more excitement, and then I sort of try to use that fear as like just like that flame within me to create whatever energy it is, or project whatever aura it is that I'm supposed to be projecting when I'm in that meeting or having that audition. So I just try to hone it, But I grew up in New York, and again, like I said, my mother was a casting director, and I spent a lot of time hanging out in her office and watching actors come in and audition for things, and then sitting in there sort of quietly in the corner playing with my action figures and eavesdropping and listening to what the producers would say about the actors. So that was sort of like interesting training ground for me, to maybe, just not take it so seriously. And also, what other people think about me is really none of my business,
Definitely.
Yeah, so there you go.
Cool.
Right.
I just want to say quickly, we're from New York City, and that's my girlfriend.
Hey.
When we get married, we're going to get Clarence and Alabama tattoos. So.
Wow, dude.
Just wanted to let you know.
You have my blessing.
Thanks, man. You're awesome.
Thank you so much.
And good luck to you. We'll watch out for you.
Awesome, yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm an ordained minister now. I joined the Dudist priesthood. Like the Big Lebowski. A friend of mine told me you can do that online, so I was like, yeah, I'll be a Dudist priest. That's awesome.
I'm gonna be a minister.
Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Love it.
Yeah, the dude abides. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah. I know, yeah, cool. All right.
Hi.
Yes, hi.
I have two things. First, I wanted to say that my senior quote was, "One morning I woke up and realized I'd never be normal."
Uh-huh.
And then I wanted to ask you, I've been watching you on Live with Kelly a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Any,
yeah.
any chances that'll become a permanent gig?
Hey, I think it comes down to, it's really interesting, that whole adventure. I love doing it. It's great. She's amazing, and if that were something that, were to come together, that would be great. I think I'd have to ask permission from, my other...
Wife?
Well, no, my wife would be totally cool with it. It's more my my other wife, Sam Esmail, my boss, that I work with now. So, but look, if he were cool with it, I would be more than happy to start my morning with you guys every day. I mean, come on, why not? Yeah, I would love it. I just did it, a thing for, well, yeah, you'll see. But yeah, you'll see. Can't tell you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi.
All right.
Hey there. So you just kind of made my day when you said, "Fuck that," he cleared it.
Oh yeah.
I guess I'm going to show Claire if you want to just take that up there. She probably hasn't seen
that
this. Yeah.
Is that the action figure?
Yeah, this is it. I was going to actually have you sign it.
Oh yeah, cool. I'll do that.
I also, with my Lando covers, figure, but whatever. I was actually more excited to see you than Lando. But anyway.
Was Lando here?
Lando's here. Yeah, Lando's here.
Now, what do you mean, Billy D?
Yeah.
Billy D.
Yeah,
Williams.
Billy D. Yeah. No, I guess my question for you is
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Will Scarlett, yeah.
You know you've made it when you're a 2-inch plastic figure.
Come on, that's it.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was like a 10-year-old kid in the first Christian Slater movie. Oh, sorry.
Hold the mic a little further away.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Is that better?
You sound great.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I was like 10 years old and I saw Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves in the theater when I was a kid.
Yep.
In Pittsburgh, and like just blown away. That was my first movie that I saw you in.
Oh, cool.
And just loved it and become a big fan ever since.
Thanks.
And I guess my question to you is, what's your favorite memory being on set of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves? Because I just love the genre and I love the film and I love your performance in it. And just,
Thanks.
It's obviously a fun film. So,
right. It is fun. Yeah. No, it was definitely. I didn't know really at the time like what a great adventure, and it was just thrilling. I mean, first of all, we shot it in Sherwood Forest, which was unbelievable. I mean, that there actually is a real Sherwood Forest, and we were there, and we were doing Robin Hood, and I mean, gosh, the whole experience is crazy. It just popped into my mind, the cod pieces. I just remember, sorry, it's so inappropriate, but we were all so competitive at that time about whose cod piece was, bigger. It's just ludicrous, that memory. But on the mature side, of course, working with Alan Rickman was great. Yeah.
God rest his soul.
Yeah. I mean, that was a big deal. I mean, to get to do some scenes with an actor like him was thrilling and very, very, very special. And yeah, it was great loss. So I loved that. And look, working with Morgan Freeman, of course, was amazing. Great, fantastic Morgan Freeman. I've been very lucky and very blessed to have some of those experiences in my life, certainly. Thank you.
Sweet. And would you ever consider doing a sequel?
Well, I think they're doing a new Robin Hood. Actually, Rami told me that he went in to audition for Will Scarlett. Wouldn't that be weird, right? If he played Will Scarlett in some Robin Hood movie?
That'd be amazing.
That would be amazing. I don't think he's going to do Freddie Mercury instead, but
That'll be amazing too.
I think that'll be equally as fascinating and interesting, yeah.
Well, thank you so much. We're certainly worth having a drink over with him.
Cool, man.
Thank you. And you look great, by the way.
Yeah, you do look awesome, dude.
Stark. I don't know if anybody...
Yeah, awesome. So good. Yeah.
We like the House of Starks.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey.
Hi. A big fan, huge fan, have been since I was a kid.
Thank you. All right.
And
I haven't seen any walkouts here, so that's good. All right.
The first movie I ever saw of yours was Heather again.
Yep.
And my question to you, and it has been for a long time, like playing somebody who is so psychologically disturbed, did that affect you negatively in the long run, and how did that feel?
Well, this is deep now. Now we're getting into the therapeutic section of this. I mean, that was, look, it was fun, I mean, I think part of one of the aspects of this business that I do love is that, with some of those characters, you do get the opportunity to exercise a lot of those demons, I mean, it's fun to dress up and escape into those worlds and lose yourself in those types of characters and do things in movies that you otherwise, could get in a lot of trouble for. So it's fun to sort of channel it in that direction. I mean, I'm getting the opportunity to do that with Mr. Robot, and I think like we all do it. We're doing it here. I mean, I realize it's like to dress up and lose yourself in those characters. It's a healthy way to sort of channel a lot of that behavior. And that's what it's been for me. You know, I mean, I get to step into the shoes of other people, and it helps me out psychologically, I think, to get that opportunity. Because, yeah, in real life and in this world, you do have to kind of learn what your boundaries are and what works for you, and you know, that can certainly be challenging.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Suspension of disbelief runs both ways. Art is created so audiences can come and you know, escapism, and also for actors. It's a, you know, it's an escape.
It's a healthy outlet for
Yes.
sure. Definitely.
And he didn't retain any of the evil. I'll just answer that part of your question.
No, I could
She's
see
sensing that. Yes.
I could see that. Thank you very
He's
much.
a good person. Thank you. All right, we have time for one more question on each side.
Oh wow.
So
Okay. All right.
We'll go over
It's ping
here.
pong here. Yeah.
Hi, Christian.
Hey, dude.
I have a question, a very decent question, I guess.
All right.
When you were a little kid,
Yep.
did you want to be what you are to this day as a little kid, or did you want to be something else?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, look, when I was a little kid, you know, I don't know, I was going to be like a spaceman or, you know, one of those types of deals, fireman. But then I also did have a dad who was in show business, and I remember when I was like 5 years old, he would have to leave to go to the theater, and I would sort of cling to his leg and say, "Dad, please take me." And he did. He would take me to, you know, backstage at the show that he was working on, and I could sit there in the wings and watch him perform, and it looked like fun. You know, I mean, there's no doubt about it. It was like, oh man, look at this, and the audience is great, and they're all laughing, and it's fun, and you know, he's playing a fun character, and I think it just sort of downloaded into my brain as something that, yeah, looked like fun, and it has remained fun. I think I have continued to learn and evolve and grow, and I've imitated and I've customized, and I've learned to kind of make things my own, and been very grateful for the entire journey, the ups and the lows and the whole ride, but very happy to be where I am today.
Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, how are you?
Yeah, hi.
Hi. So first of all, I was wondering if you could say hello to my friends Phaedra and Michelle.
Phaedra and Michelle.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Phaedra and Michelle.
Okay.
How are you?
And
Greetings and
second of all,
salutations. All right, you got it.
Heathers is my favorite movie ever, and all of us are in love with Heathers the musical, and I
Oh,
want
yeah.
to know what you thought of that, because that's just an amazing musical.
Yeah. I did go to New York. Well, I live in New York, and I went and saw it off Broadway, and I loved it. I did love it. It just was really frustrating to see somebody else do JD. That was the only thing. I was just like, what?
You're the best, JD.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah.
Obviously.
I was like, come on, what's that guy doing? So it's hard for me to stay in my seat and not run up there. I think that would have been fun. But yeah, no, I loved it, and I thought it was adorable.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. It was an unexpected musical choice.
Yeah,
to turn
unexpected.
into
Well,
a
sometimes those are the way to go. The unexpected. You know?
Unexpected.
Or the
So-
extreme. The extreme.
Yes, the extreme.
All right.
Did you guys enjoy this hour with Christian?
Thank you.
You can go see him back downstairs. Christian, thank you so much.
I can keep this doll. I can keep. Is this for me? I can keep this, dude? No. You want me to sign it? No. I'll sign it. I got a whole box of these.
He kind of does want to keep.
Yeah.
All right, you can pick it up backstage. Christian,
Thank you so much. Thank you.